Happy Friday, everybody. How are all of the folks who are either not participating in Friday evening festivities or are, parked at them or hanging out or something of the like? Let's see here. Who else here? Of course, Unfinished Project and the One-Eyed Cat were here, and LP94 Lars and Danny Boyd. Cope Racing Transmissions is here. He's probably chilling at the lake with his feet up or something. JB's Little Shop. Matthews, 6th Street Garage. I'm so glad the channel names are back. It seemed like it was a one stream thing. Mohawk 62 does nothing special. Pure Pontiac Garage, Indirect Connection. Graham Pito Vixes. Happy 4th, everybody. Happy 4th indeed. Happy 249th birthday, America. Have you guys heard about the big 250th American birthday celebration that's going to be in Iowa next year? Trump was all excited when he got elected because he was going to be president during America's 250th birthday. So they got something big planned in the middle of the country for next year. So who knows what that'll be, but I bet the fireworks show will be second to none in history. My Aunt Nancy is here. Hot Rod Guy Garage. Russell, howdy. Thanks for joining us. Lone Wrench Garage. I've been enjoying his shorts. In fact, today is the final day of the No Name 500 30 Shorts in 30 Days challenge. I just put up my 30th. Well, yeah, call it the 30th short. I had another one in there, but that's part of the story of something to do with a short from last week. Mean Street Mopar. Glad you're here, sir. Turbo Tom 416. Buff Del Campo. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is here as well. Glad you guys are both here. Hot Rod Guy Garage says 75 days and a few hours. Better get to grinding on those projects. We will be down to a week before we know it. Absolutely. That orange paper doesn't lie. It moves and moves and moves. Andrew Nelson says, good evening, gang. Good evening, Andrew. How are you guys enjoying your summertime projects? With the sparks flying in the summer heat up there at the Nelson compound. I figured we'd have a smaller crew tonight because so many people will be out and enjoying 4th of July festivities. But I was still going to go live for whomever is here. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat's at work but on her break. Cool. Thank you. Crystal Onyx is here. Howdy. Yeah, so my thumbnail, for those of you who noticed it, is this tag. And I have this, I found this in my toolbox. And I set it aside for some reason and kept it. This was at a junkyard one time. And when the Cash for Clunkers project, when that legislation came around and people were scrapping these perfectly good cars to get tax incentives on buying new ones that they couldn't afford and created a repossession wave. Anyway, then they would scrap the perfectly good cars. They would take these tags and put on them. And they would put sodium silicate, aka liquid glass, instead of oil. They would dump some of that in there and fire it up so it would seize up the engines. Yeah, absolutely idiotic idea. I mean, no intelligent person can defend this nonsense, but this is one of the tags for the program, so that's a neat little keepsake. I used that for the thumbnail. Danny Boyd said he changed a mailbox lock, cut 3 yards, and drank 3 16-ounce beers and grilled up burgers for dinner. Well, right on. You've had a productive day. Colleen says, hello, everyone. Happy Independence Day. Don't know how long I can stay. Understandable. The NSB boys wish everybody a happy 4th. Indeed. I popped a tire off for a recent short that I made. Thought of you guys. Buff says that tag brings up memories of my destroyed used car business. Yes, exactly. So the people who should have been buying from you were out buying new cars they couldn't afford even with the tax break, people would finance them to them, and what a disaster. It was just a total disaster. Horrible idea. Ford 300s laughed at that. Well, it sure would destroy an engine. Andrew Nelson says, working like madmen, working on a vet for our buddy John. When we started helping him, the car ran high 12s, low 13s. It's going 1180 now. No changes to the engine. Cool. I like it. You're getting that thing sorted out. Happy Traders Day. Yes, sir. That's right. You know, it always strikes me as odd when you hear these wokies talking about how horrible things like January 6th and how horrible it is to talk about things our government's doing wrong and this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you guys always seem to turn a blind eye to 1776. You turn a blind eye to that one because you like the outcome. See, still be living under the monarchy if not. That one they're okay with. They conveniently, that one's all right. And the clunker turned out to be, he was before he was elected. People just did it anyway. I wasn't surprised by anything. But I'm pretty sure that was a Bush 43 program. I believe it was. I have to look. Indecisive Garages, happy 4th, everyone. Hope you all spent some time with the family and now with this family. Yes. Hey, by the way, I was watching your short on that tool, and man, I think I could really help you with some titles on those. It might help them take off a little bit. I think I could. You got some good content. I think some more people need to see. Hit that like button, peeps. Well, thank you, Grand Pito Vic. I appreciate that. And the prices of cars at auctions went way up. Oh, yeah. It was bad for everything all the way around. It was a political stunt that hurt everybody, but they don't care about that. Speaking of shorts taking off, I'll look what it is as of right now. I have one short of the bunch I put out. Now, I had some do really well, don't get me wrong. I've already had 1,000 people watch that stupid light switch short I just put up. But this one, look at the numbers on this Thunder Ranch short that I put up. I didn't have anything filmed that day. So I just took this little short clip from a training class I was in doing some synchronized shooting, which is the same skill that was used to liberate Captain Phillips when he was held hostage at sea. There were 3 captors. There were him, and if you didn't snipe them all at the same time, one of them probably would have done a suicide mission to take him with him. So anyway, we were learning to shoot synchronously and some tricks to do that. But it's just a little short clip of us shooting together. And anyway, it got 355,000 views and climbing 5,000 likes right now. And 111 comments, most of which are just derp, but I guess that's part of it. But anyway, it's impressive. That's definitely my highest performing short of this 30 shorts in 30 days. Thumper says, as of today, I have 1,776 subs. How cool is that? Yes, it is. It's very cool. And as of today, I have 3,055, but I had like 2,900 this morning. That one short is wild. Well, now it's 1,778. It is. Thumper's always got some good comments. JB said, not long here, just stop to say hi. Hey, thank you for doing that. I don't begrudge anybody that has a life and out enjoying 4th of July with their family and friends right now. Nothing wrong with that. So I wish everybody to have fun. I am just here for whoever's here. So I'm glad you're here, man. Grand Pito Vic says, I've got a 12 gauge again and fixing to get an AR-10-308 and a 5.56 and replacing my Glocks I had. Okay. I mean, that AR-10 has come a long way. The only thing that is bummer about those to me is there's nothing mil spec about them. So the parts are still kind of all over the place. And not all the mags work with all the lowers. One problem I ran into with one of my students' AR-10s is it was sensitive which buffer you used in it. And he was having trouble getting his to cycle. And we changed the buffer and it would just run all day. Because somebody tried to take an AR-15 and well, it was Eugene Stoner, not somebody. It's Eugene Stoner. But because he tried to take the AR-15 and make something, you know, different with it, more than it really was originally designed for, it runs into these weird growing pains that nobody ever really sorted out because it was never a military rifle. But they're cool. It's awesome to be able to basically have, you know, like an M14, except in an AR style, which was an evolutionary thing that just didn't quite happen. But they're cool. I mean, I like them. I mean, I would definitely go with the 5.56. No question about it. No question about it. And then replacing my Glocks I had. Yes, a Glock 19 is never the wrong answer. Mohawk said, I had some friends fall for that clunker scam. They gave me $1,500 for my junk car, and then it says dealer retains rebate of $2,000. Nice scam. Yeah, that's a terrible scam right there. Yeah. Main Street says I was at 426 for a while. I thought that was cool. Yeah, I could see that. But it'll be a lot cooler if you just get your 500, man. You can do it. I'm telling you, you're really close. You get to 450, and we'll have a little party and get you over the top. This is your year. Yes, they are finicky. They're not as finicky as those AK. What do they call them? The Segas, the AK shotguns. Oh man, that's what a terrible idea those were. The AR-10's a little finicky, but they're good pieces. Yeah, M1 is Spring One. M1A is outstanding. Yes, it's good design. Yeah, I remember going to. I was at Front Sight one year, and they were telling me the Mini 14s just don't run. I know that's not what you're talking about. The Mini 14, which is, you know, an M14 scaled down to run 223, and it just sounded like a really good idea, but they said they couldn't get them to make it through classes, and they just couldn't get a Mini 14 to make it through class. Just wouldn't do it, and I find that odd because if Front Sight, the stuff, it doesn't get run nearly as hard. I'm like, man, I can imagine you took that to tactical response. That thing would be a doorstop by lunchtime. Dean says, I've been wrenching on my own. It's lonely. I can see that, but at least you're wrenching. If any of them are tuned right, they will work right. For the most part, but do remember, a lot of things, even tuned right, can't handle the environment. Like, I don't care. I mean, you can tune a 1911 right. You can get your extractor tuned right and all of that, which is great, which is what you should do with a 1911. Run Wilson Combat Mags, tune the extractor right, all of that. But it's still not going to run in like the dirt like a Glock will, no question. So same thing for an AR. An AR won't run in dirt like an AK. So there's that. Although one tip for you though, and I learned this from a friend of mine, he took his AR through a really dirty contractor rifle class, and his secret was to keeping that thing running because almost everybody there had an AK because they knew that it was going to be really dirty, muddy, wet conditions and everything else. But what he did is he had about 50 mags for that thing, and he wouldn't use the same mag twice in the day. He kept putting in a clean one. And then at the end of the night, he would take all the base plates off and hose them out and everything. And yeah, and that was what he was doing because he said guys were reloading their AR mags and still be filthy, and that was causing problems. So smart on him, but an AK would still been probably an easier choice. But that said, he also, it was made for a light rifle, and that saved his back all day. So it was a trade-off. So. JB says 96 Suburban 2500 454. Let's see how that goes. That sounds like it would go great. Yeah, the AK variant is a nightmare if not tuned right. You talking about the AK shotgun? Yeah, I just wouldn't have one. I mean, more power to anybody who does. Just I would not have one. I like my stuff that just runs. The Mini 14 was a bad setup. Yes, it was. I mean, I guess it was meant to somehow compete with the AR, but the AR is the champ with that ammo. It really is. Pressures and issues. Well, some can't handle it. I don't understand releasing anything to the market that can't handle them, but I guess that's possible. Mags are supposed to be throwaways. Yeah, pretty much. But if you train a lot, you're not throwing them away. I'd rather have a proper semi-auto gauge made for the gauge. Yeah, my shotgun's a pump gun. It's right in there. Whew, you run 500 rounds through that over a day and a half. You know it. But anyway, yeah, it's just a freewheeling Friday live. And for those who can be here, Pito says, I have a pump at the moment, just sold my semi-auto because I didn't trust it. Yeah, well, to get a good semi-auto shotgun, you're looking at like a Benelli. And that's high dollar. Those, I believe, the 1301 Berettas are not bad too, but again, they're expensive. Man, for me, give me I think it's really hard to beat a Mossberg 590. And I'm a Remington guy, and my pump gun is a Remington 870, but I'm here to tell you, I think a Mossberg 590 is really hard to beat because it's got more room in the trigger guard, like if you have a glove, and you got your safety on top, right on top of the receiver, where you can run it with either side, which is, to me, much better than what Remington did, putting it by the trigger guard. So I really like Mossberg's design. I think it's superior. And they run good. They run really well. So if you want an actual shotgun to work with and get down and dirty, Mossberg's is a great choice. And get the little 14-inch one that has that little weird, hand grip on it, and then put your brace. Now you're in business. It's beautiful. Without that, though, they're just a novelty. You need the brace. I can run a pump quick. They're just hungry, not for a novice. It actually, you're right in this, in that when I teach people the hierarchy of training and learning, you start with the pistol, you progress to the rifle, and then you go to the shotgun, because the shotgun is more about learning to handle and reload. And then you have to learn so much about the loads and distances when you're running the shotgun. There's just a lot. The shotgun is a thinking man's gun if you're going to use it effectively in a fight. So yes, it's not for a novice, I would agree. And they are hungry, and they don't hold a lot of ammo. Most people never shoot those things enough at any one sitting to really think much about that, but you're exactly right. Mohawk says, does anyone want to keep going or do another 30 shorts and 30? Let me tell you, the best person here to comment on that is Buff Del Campo. Buff should tell you about that. He is exactly the person to tell you about that. So Buff, if you're in here, why don't you weigh in on that one? Dean, I don't know. One thing I can think of is I believe George Luger came out with that 9mm in 1898, winning the first guns right after 1900. And he says some of these things you have metric. Yeah. Lone Wrench is trying to do one more every day to the No Name Nationals. Might surprise you. I bet I've gotten 50, 60 subs or more off that one short. It's 1/3 of a million subs, 1/3 of a million views right now, just off one short. And it was something I did 8 years ago. I just hadn't filmed anything that day. So I was digging around in my videos. They might like that. I put that up. I woke up in the morning and had 22,000. I said, well, it's doing something. I can't believe it's just how it's climbed all day long. I went to lunch with 2,995 subs. I sat down with 3,006. I missed 3,000, but it's just been soaring. Colleen, you have a fun 4th tonight. Take care. Mexican Spec is here. Howdy, sir. Bumper says 45 because old, fat, and slow still gets the job done. Yeah. 45. Nothing wrong with 45. It will work. Gosh, last time I shot 45 was in a 1911 operator class, but it was fun. I enjoyed that. Grand P2 Vic says throwing a rock still hurts. Yeah, I can see that. Grand P2 Vic got me 15 subs just by being his live. Yes, I agree. That's a good way to do it. Get a little closer. We'll get you on one of these. But you got to get a little closer, and you can do this. You can do this, man. You absolutely can. Old Tech is still dangerous. Buff said, I kept going with one short a day for years. See, Buff did this, the original 30 shorts in 30 days last year. And then he just kept going and started doing 2 shorts a day for this year's challenge. I had 360 subs in June last year. Now I have 5,731. So there you go. This is what Buff is telling you. And he is right. I have watched it. And his shorts are, I mean, you ought to look at the info in his stuff. It's great. And so, you know how I do on this, Scrambito. I always say, please go check out their channel and see if they earned your sub. I always say that because you guys earn people's subs. And Lone Wrench Garage earned mine. So, got my endorsement. His content does. Good stuff. Good dude. I like his channel. I poke around in there every now and then. Dean, I got to sit and ponder this one. Buff, I attempted one sure today, but I would have had a CDL logbook infringement if I continued. So I feel short on my shorts. Yeah, or something. Well, I put mine up before this live, my light switch shorts. So I've got all my 30 money. I did get one duplicate in there. I put the word AR-15 in the title, so I put up the same short without it. And it went from getting just maybe, less than 100 views in an hour. It was really dwindling. It was the worst performing short I had ever done. And it's because YouTube was punishing you for putting the word AR-15 in the title. So I reposted it without that. I put a couple seconds on the front just so it would look like a new video to the machine, but it's the same video. And then the views were just fine. He was totally happy once I took that transgression of AR-15 out of the title. Lunar says, wish you'd known you liked those old school light switches. Could have given you a bunch of them for our electrical closed up. Hey, here's the thing though. So it's not really necessarily that. Now that switch is super cool. It's an old 1930 Bakelite switch, the real deal. It is super cool and I like it. I wouldn't mind having a few of those original ones. They make reproduction ones now that are plastic and cheap and no interest in that. I like my original one. But the reason I like it, and I'll tell you the story here for all 37 of you. Some of you guys know this who know me, but like 9 years ago, I was riding through the neighborhood where my grandmother's old house was, and it had been sold a few times and it looked terrible. And I see a sign in the front yard and it's an out of area broker, which almost always means foreclosure. And so as an agent, I called them, got the lockbox code and went in it. I just wanted to go see that old light switch. I really did. So I went in, I went up the stairs. Is it there? Is it there? I got to the top. There it is. And they had the power on. I had to do it. So I pushed the button and I was turning the light off and on. It's just like I was 8 years old again, pushing that light button switch back and forth. Well, I'm like, that's cool. So I'm looking around the rest of the house thinking, I wonder if I can give these people $100 for that light switch. Wonder if I can get away with that and put another one in there because the rest of the house doesn't have it. It's the only one in the house. The whole rest of the house is regular light switches. So if I can get one to match that, surely they would think that's okay, right? I was gonna give them $100 for it and change it and everything. Well, anyway, when I first got the code, I said, hey, send me the MLS if you wouldn't mind. And I'm walking out the door and I looked in my emails. I'm locking up, leaving. They sent me the MLS sheet. The listing was down to $19,000 because this was in the very bottom of the real estate market. It had just collapsed. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get this light switch now. So I offered them 10. They counted at 12. We settled on 11. I basically bought an $11,000 light switch that came with a free house. So that's literally what happened there. And so now it's fine right where it is. It's great right where it is. But if I rent that house, which I do want to do in time, I'm not going to take any chances with it. I hate to move it from where it is. It's been in the same spot for almost 100 years, but I just can't take any chances with it with a tenant. So I want to move it and I'll put it over in my tree house. And I think I know exactly which one I want to replace it with in there. So. Yeah, that's a great switch though. The cover plate is real brass. It's real thick. And man, you can hear that switch. It almost sounds, it actually sounds like you're throwing a breaker when you press it. It clunks that loudly. Danny Boy says, no ground for those old push button switches. I don't care. It's going in another old house of mine. Doesn't either. So it's a lateral, man. Dougster says, have no fear. The Dougster's here. I put up a short yesterday of a little outtake in the tower at the 3rd annual No Name Nationals. It involves Ron Ward and Dougster and Busted Radio Chris, and it's really funny. So if you want to see it and watch it a few times, you'll kind of figure it out. But Dougster has the one-liner of the day. So check that out. Lunar says making car parts and all kinds of them, and the square body's moving forward. Yes, and Lunar, were you here? I was showing off some parts on the stream. I was showing these off, and I was showing off this hat. I left them here just for that. So through this live, I'm going to leave them here. Then I'm going to repatriate these where they need to go. But I still have them right here for a reason. I was showing them off a little bit on the lives. Good work, by the way. If the house sits on the ground, why would it need more ground? Even ion switches. I don't know, man. Household electricity is just not my thing. I never learned it like I did the other. Or the other, I didn't learn that good either, but I learned it enough to get a President's List graduation in automotive diagnosis and repair. So how's that? But it still doesn't mean I know anything. That is a good looking hat. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir. Yes, Dougster guest stars in the short that I put up yesterday with Ron Ward. It's an outtake from the Towers. It's the kind of thing you don't see at the No Name Nationals. You just had to be there. Residential electrical isn't too bad. I don't know that it's too bad. I just said I never really learned it. Dougster says, happy birthday, America. Happy 249th birthday indeed. What do we call this? The 249th anniversary of Tell the Queen to Bite It Day? Is that what this is? You can make old switches grounded. Hey, we'll take it as it comes. I just know that switch is super cool, and I love that switch. So I definitely would not rent it with that switch in there. But for right now, it's safe. What I want to do is put a new kitchen in the formal dining room and put a full bathroom in the old kitchen. And that will make that house make all kinds of more sense. Because it was built in 1930 and, people lived better then, if you ask me. They had big family dinners and the kitchen was administrative to cooking. And now people want an eat-in kitchen where they can live, and who cares about a formal dining room? So it's kind of the way I'm going to kind of set the house up. Winter says, how do you like the old logo? I don't know what that goes with necessarily. '63 Cadillac. Yeah, how's your Cadillac doing, Lunar? Nobody formal dines anymore. A few people still sort of do, but you're right. It's just going the way of the dinosaur. It's unfortunate. Grand Pito Vic, you guys have a good time. For those of you who are getting to watch fireworks shows tonight, awesome. Save me a picture. I love fireworks. Always have. Buffdale Campo says, I was working in England on the 4th one year. The guy I was working with said, we don't celebrate the 4th. Well, I can see why. Nobody wants to celebrate losing a war. Grizzle says, my videos on my channel, you never know what I'm going to be up to. Oh, yeah, it just terrifies me. Lunar says, the '63 Cadillac Coupe de Ville is doing great. Currently in a carport. I've been waiting until Samantha got old enough to help start rebuilding it. So hopefully after the square body. Cool. Lone Ridge Garage. I have an 11-minute firework video that comes out at 9. I'm assuming right after this live. And then when he means 9 Central. Yes. Right after this live. Cool. That sounds great. Are you premiering it? Or are you just posting it at that time? Let's put the link up for it. I have a mod in here. Not one of the mods. Put up the link to a Lone Ridge Garage's video. If I'm short on mods, I'll get it myself. No problem. Dougster says, the house I grew up in was built in, I guess it means 1917 or 1918, has a push-button style switch like Wilburn's and the twist style switch. Oh, the twist style. That seems weird. Yeah. Some still are used today. The main hall switch is 3-bank with large cover. Yeah, some of these push-button switches have like the little pearl-looking inlays, and those are fine, but this one doesn't. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I like it. I didn't say they were bad. You just don't know what's in them. That's true. Yeah. Laura says, isn't it set up as a premiere? I'm lingering. If it is, yeah, drop the link in here. Yeah, right. But you just have it set to post instead of premiere, right? I don't think you'd have anything to lose by doing it as a premiere. Then people can comment live when it's up. Does Nothing Special says, I may fire off a couple surplus parachute flares tonight. You know what I could have done is if I'd have bought those airbags, I could have set them off for 4th of July, maybe. I mean, I don't know how much trouble people. I do it out here in the cul-de-sac. Somebody be driving down the highway and just watch this airbag come up in the line of sight and drop back down. Lone Ranch, Lars can help you with that. Yeah, you can. It's just a premiere. There's an option to premiere it, and all that means is that it'll be live for the very first time when it publishes. So the first time it publishes, it automatically goes live on your channel, and people who want to click on it then can watch it and make comments. And I'll promote it on here. I'll let people know it's coming. There's Nothing Special said the Ford SRS airbag is the best. Well, that's good to know. Oh, hey, don't you work in the yard down in North Carolina? You're not that far from me. I thought that makes some great content, finding some, roachy bags that have no value. Like what happens to all these airbags when they have an airbag recall? Okay, they replace all these good airbags with other good airbags. There's nothing freaking wrong with them. But look at all of that fodder you could use to set off. See, to me, that's just such a waste. People not getting hold of those for that reason. Yeah, Lars is saying you can change it. Just have to set the time and select the set as premiere. There you go. I would recommend if you did it, try it for like 9:05 or something, and then you give like a little 2-minute window or something, maybe like that, or even 9:03 or 2. For whatever it's. I mean, I don't care. Do it how you can do it for 9. I just wrap on time, and I'm going to send people over right at the end of this, and I'll try to remember to wrap exactly on time, and so that it'll just make a smooth segue over. Yeah, if you did 9 and you had the 2-minute lead, that would work out really well, actually. You do it as 9, and then you have the 2-minute ticker. Yeah, that would be perfect. Then people come over that way and have 2 minutes to spare. That's not a bad idea. Exactly. I think people get the old ones right. You're just setting them off. Boy, that makes some great content. Gosh, wouldn't it ever? I'd come down and film stuff like that. That'd be fun. What in the world is this? Circular switch mounts to wall about pop can wide, 2-inch tall, has Bakelite twist tab. That sounds weird. Dean says, if you're endorsed with non-miscellaneous, you can transport them anytime. Well, you can in this country. There's Nothing Special says you need to come down when they have the 75 all you can carry. Can you send me information to that? That would be fantastic. I miss those. Yeah, because I need a bunch of stuff for my CRV. You could let me know when you're doing that stuff. That would be just wonderful. Here you go. So there we go. So Lone Ridge Garage has this. If our buddy Lars, if he gets a shot in time to get a chance, throw that link in there, it'd be great. He's got his premiere for right after this live stream here. We'll send people right over. So that sounds great. If you did it, it sounds right. So we got plenty of time. Laura says, I still don't see it scheduled. There's an option that says premiere. You should be able to select. Yes, you could. Just save it. It sounds like you saw all the right stuff. Just save it. And 9 is fine with a 3-minute heads up. However you want to do it. I'm going to send people to go over right after this live. So, yeah, sounds great. There we go. Forgot to save it. You're right. So just same thing. This time save it. There you go. And now you got a new skill, man. You know those when you get parts that are like in a plastic bag that's folded over the top a few times and stapled together? And that works and it's fine. The problem is that the staple, you take it out and it scratches you trying to put it back and stuff. And I found these. At a craft store. These are supposed to be for jewelry beads, but man, they are the perfect size for small parts, and they're really heavy. They're heavier than like they're heavier than like a snack bag or something than the normal bags we use, and the zipper's really good. I thought, boy, these things are just great for parts. So I got a bunch for that purpose. See, Dr. Art is in the house. Hello. Crystal has some of those bags. Yeah, they are. They're better bags than. I was looking for more of the industrial style, but I like those. Those work really well. Oh yeah, what's the most amazing thing you've seen hauled out by one person? I'll tell you what. So when we had the sale like this, $65, all you can carry from Cunningham Brothers Pick and Save up near Lynchburg, and I saw guys who were taking bed liners out of trucks, like 2 guys or sometimes 3, get bed liners out of trucks, and they would put all the parts they could possibly put in those things and cut holes in them for hand grips. They were smart about it. They did really well. I saw guys get engines out that way. You couldn't drag it, but they didn't have to. They were getting engines out like that. Very, very smart. Hobby Lobby is the best place to buy them. Yeah, I got these at a competing store, but Hobby Lobby has some like that too. Yes, they do. Just looking for some just about that size for some stuff, which worked out perfectly. Dougster said, had a guy haul out a 4-banger minus the head on one shoulder and a transmission on the other side. Well, I'll tell you what my haul was at that time. I can't remember how long this was, but it was a long time ago. I got a rear end out of a 65 Dodge truck, drum to drum, and I carried it, alternating grip like a deadlift. And then I had bungee cords around my neck, and on my back, I had radiator overflow bottles, an instrument panel. And a radiator from the truck on this bungee cord, all on my back, around my neck. I'm keeping my chin down so it doesn't choke me. So I'm carrying it with my chin down, and I got this rear, and I'm walking forward. I couldn't look up hardly to see where the finish line was. You had to carry it 50 feet. But I made it. Now, somewhere, someone's got a picture of this. I've never seen it. I've been told that the yard was taking pictures. My buddies didn't get any pictures. But there was somebody there photographing everybody that went across. And I got it. I'd love to have that picture. It'd be so cool. I mean, me back when I had more hair and everything and all that, it'd be, I would post it on my community tab. It'd be a neat one to have, but I have no idea. He was bouncing, knew what he was doing. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I tell you, I mean, I might be asking for trouble, but I might still be able to do a little 904 on each shoulder or something. I've gotten a bunch of those on the shoulder. Chryslers are really good for that because they got that long tail shaft. That sucker right on there, levered up. Last one was Memorial Day. It was raining and they still did 20,000. Yeah, well, people come out in the rain for that because it's a good deal. Does nothing special like I know those just kind of things are just interesting to me. Seeing people carry that stuff out. I bet you have some good rules people have made you come up with over the years. Like I saw one here said no carrying aids. What is a carrying aid? Wheelbarrow? Oh, yeah, well, that's a carrying aid. Yeah, of course. My carrying aid would be a pickup truck. So, yeah, I get you. That's a pretty radical one. But I have bungee cords and stuff, and I'm hand. Yeah. Okay. Because I was going to say, there's a lot of things that are carrying aids. I mean, I would definitely take a bunch of paracord in there. I mean, what do you think of trying to do without that? And gloves and some duct tape. All that stuff could be handy for getting that stuff out. Heard of guys using a hood strapped to you and load up the shelf. Yeah, I saw several of those. Guys carried out hoods like that on their back. Yes, I did. Yep. Yep. Or you pull it yard is the U pull yard is 32 acres. Cool. Cool. Yeah, man. Don't if you don't mind, send me your information for that, please. I'd love to go to that. Maybe do a little content there if it's okay. It'd be great. I need some small things for the CRV. Just little nothing stuff, but it's annoying. I don't think about it. Danny boys, I've carried a hood out of the yard before. I've carried several hoods out. I found a nice Ram Charger hood for my Dart that way. I found a 69 Roadrunner air grabber hood at the junkyard one time. Did not have the air grabber structure underneath, unfortunately, but it was the hood. I bought some interesting stuff there at the junkyard before. I saw a guy walk out with a transmission strapped to his back and a battery strapped to his front, 2 tires, rims, and rotors on them, one in each hand. Yes! Transmission on his back, battery on the front, 2 tires and rims with rotors on them, one in each hand. Yeah, don't mess with it. Exactly. Dude, respect. Wow. How old a fellow was he? That's impressive right there. I can't think how I would grip those tire wheel and rotor combos. How I guess just have him to his side, flip them inside out so you can get a deep bite. I could see that. Levi says, dang, I've missed 50 minutes of the best Friday Night Live. How is everyone? Happy 4th. Well, howdy, Levi. Happy 249th birthday, America. Through the hub pilot? Oh, no. He wasn't carrying it like us. He strapped it, but he was carrying it. I'm just guessing. Tim, tell us how he was carrying it. Did he have the wheels toward his body so he could get it in, get his hand in all of that back space to get a grip on it? That's what seems logical to me. Dougster says, I go to a huge U-Pull yard in Kalamazoo, and the Dodge truck section is huge. Walk from the office, bought bumpers there twice. At least it's still cheap. I remember when pretty much every yard was a U-Pull yard, and now it's hardly any. This is the best country there is. That's right. We can't let this one get ruined because there is nowhere to go. Hard to believe only 76 days left. No, it's 75 days and what, 3 hours and 8 minutes? Yeah, it is coming. It is coming fast, and I am not ready. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I really thought this year was going to be a better run up to it. NSB says doing good, getting used to my new job, and Dean is doing well. Took a little break from YouTube, but getting back to it. Well, cool, guys. Always glad to see you. 30-ish. There you go. Well, there's a lot of it right there. Dean says, I told the valet I want my Porsche parked and the Lincoln Continental spare put back on. So with my accent, I ended up getting a white Porsche and a spare tire. Well, where the sun don't shine. Okay, well, I can see that. And Levi can't wait to hang out with the NSB boys and Sykes. Yeah, they're all great people. So much fun. It's good to see all you guys. Dougster says, I converted my 413 from front sump to rear truck sump. Need to change the rear main seal and bottom end will be done. Cool. Hey, so give us the latest update on your CRT shift pack since you have the first one. Indecisive, probably felt 70-ish at the end of the day. Yeah, maybe. I don't remember how I felt after carrying all that stuff out that time I did, but those were the days, man. What can I say? Yes, I put the original title back because it was gone anyway. So I'm like, well, I'm not keeping some bootlicker title on there and make people think I switched to Battle of the YouTube Gods. No, I put it back. It was all just a test. But I put the same short up the next day with a different title, and it took off. So I proved, I think, pretty conclusively that YouTube punished me for that title. However, ironically, for those who didn't see this, in the Shorts Challenge, I issued everybody 30 shorts, 30 days, primarily for the No Name 500 guys, but anybody could do it. I had this one. And this is from Thunder Ranch, a little drill we did out there in 2017, 376,000. But it said synchronized shooting drill at Thunder Ranch. And it even has the word rifle in it, but it doesn't have AR-15. And I did a before and after, really strong evidence that YouTube hated me using that word in that short. It wasn't in this one. I'm glad. Boy, that one took off. It gave me a bunch of stuff. I've gotten like 80 subs today from that alone, just today. And it still isn't slowing down. It's nearly 400,000 views. Lars thinks it'll hit 1 million. If it did, it'd be the first short I ever had get anywhere near that. But I don't do this for views or any of that. It's just interesting when it happens. I do it for community. When I put that thing up, all I was thinking was, I said, well, this is cool. Some of my buddies might enjoy this. It's the Synchronized shooting is how, if you guys remember, and most of you will, because all of our community is old, it seems. Levi might not, but most of you will remember when Captain Phillips, who piloted the Maersk container ship, got hijacked by Somali pirates. And so they kidnapped and ransomed him. And they had him on this little boat out at sea. And so one of the SEAL teams went out. And what they did is you had 3 different captors in 3 different places on the ship. One standing next to Captain Phillips, one somewhere up top where he could see, and the other one somewhere else by a door. And so what they had to do is they had to wait with both boats rocking, the SEALs boat and their boat. They were both rocking. They negotiated to where they could be close to each other. And so there was a spotter watching. They were watching. And when all 3 shooters had a shot, now they all sent them at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. All at the same time. 3 captors down. Then they went over and got Captain Phillips and told him what happened. Because you can't pick them off one at a time because one of them might do something crazy, suicide mission, take out Captain Phillips. So that's the safe way to do it, but it took synchronized shooting under very difficult conditions. And so anyway, it was good to get some of that in this class just to learn new skill. And but I thought that was interesting. And there's other places you would use that legitimately tactically as well. But it was interesting. Rotors were out, hands grasping the ball. Oh, he got them that. Oh, yeah, because that'd make a better hand. Okay. But you know how strong your wrists have to be to do that? Because now you got more of the weight on top. So he's keeping that. I mean, he's keeping that up with his wrist. That was a really strong dude. Gosh. Wow. I mean, that did make a better handle, but that took a lot of wrist strength to do. That's more impressive to me than the weight now that you tell me you got them that way. Shift pack update. Waiting on another parts order for the spring for the rooster cone. Minus that, it's ready to install. Cool. Okay. You know, I think Cope wants you to call him on his cell phone right now and place that order. I would get a box of exploding manure to my house. If someone called him right now and ordered that on his cell phone. I watched the movie they made to know the story. Yeah. There you go. So people ask me, what's the point in learning to shoot with synchronicity? There you go. There's one example that comes to mind. But anyway, it was neat. And we had to do with accuracy too. I think part of it wasn't as much us all learning to shoot together as it was. One thing just in general people have to learn to do when they shoot for serious purposes is that you don't always get to make the shot just whenever you want to. So you need to be able to control yourself to be able to have an acceptable shot at a lot more period of time to be able to take it in a wider window. Because your sights are always going to be moving, that kind of thing. And so Clint, of course, is big on this stuff, as are all really good instructors. And yeah, and so anyway, once you learn a lot of that kind of training, even when you're on the ground, and when we ran to these positions, this wasn't just set up for show. We ran to these positions, had to jump behind these rifles. So, I mean, everybody's behind there, gets it into their shoulder. That countdown starts right after that. Everybody's out of breath and breathing hard. So I don't know. We did it a few times, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting stuff. I mean, and the point is this stuff does make you a better shooter because you're training under conditions that are much harder to shoot under. I have a target that I show classes sometimes, and I tell them I shot this at 25 yards with a rifle, and it has a pattern like this. Like, man, you must be a terrible shooter. And I'm like, if I told you the conditions under which I had to shoot this at 25 yards with a rifle, we'll see how you do it. If I could just shoot at 25 with a rifle under any conditions I wanted, it would look like one hole. So that's everything. That really is so much more of it. And that's when people train to really become good versus, shooting for fun to pad an ego, it makes a big difference. So how do you carry your tools out? Strap them to you. So you can probably have a support buddy keeping the tools or something. That might be excluded. I don't remember how we did that, but I don't think I had to carry many tools out if I did. good question for Does Nothing Special. I can't remember. It's been 20 years since I've done one of those. But I would love to have that picture. I know it was Cunningham Brothers Pick and Save. I don't know who has it now. I think all that's kind of changed around up there. But, man, I'd love to have had that picture. Never seen it. I just remember doing it. And I remember getting across through there and sitting down on those brake drums. And it's like, okay, now where? Indecisive, the time is now, synchronized, yeah. Any news for No Name Nationals? I've got more news coming up, obviously, because time is getting short, but I've had a lot of things keeping me just crunched, for lack of a better term, just crunched. I wish I had more news right as of now. Dougster said, although my next shortlist thing is having Deke on here for biography style live, so you'll be looking for that. Pre-sale, if you go in and have all the hard work done already and bring on sale day a minimal amount of tools to finish the pull. Yeah. So see, I've seen people do that before. Yes, I've seen that before. Although you get screwed if somebody else says, "Oh, I'm looking for one of these. Look at that! It's 2 bolts from off," and that could happen. That would really suck because it's not yours at that point. But you're right, that would be slick. Mohawk says knee-high socks are good at holding 3/8 drive ratcheting. Well, yeah, and I wear long socks like that. I always have. Bulletproof. No, they're not. I've got casings in them, though. If you wear a worn out enough sock, you can do that. Tidy cat bucket. Yeah, the only thing I like about those is they're square. Pickle buckets are round. Pile them all against each other. I kind of like pickle buckets, but the square ones do stack against the sides right nicely. Dean can hold a 3/4 race cam down one trouser leg, but security wouldn't let me out. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know how you know that. Dean's telling us he has a small base circle. Levi says, I'll be awaiting the declive. Have some questions for passengers. So I want to do a biographical style live with Deke. I may do 2, one with that and then one with tech questions. So we want to see how this shapes up. And sometime this summer, we got to work it out to work it together. But I'm going to have a biographical style live with just Mopar Joe. And he's got a lot of interesting things to talk about. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be great. I've been wanting to do this for years, actually. Kind of like what I did with Ron Ward that time. We talked about all the things that go into making Ron Ward who he is, not just the voice of the No Name Nationals and not just Mostly Old Parts Ron Ward in the chat. We talked about his other interests and things like that. And Joe is actually a very interesting guy aside of just Mopar Joe. So we need to do this. Dougster says, had it happen. That's when you put it in a van and lock it in. Grab the key, make sure it works. Smart. I like that. Dean says, I'm ground down by 35 years of marriage. Reading Dean's comments keeps you intellectually sharp. For people who don't get that, you don't get his comments. Joe's an interesting dude. That's an understatement. Joe's a genuinely nice guy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I think I made the comment one time. I was talking with Cope, and this is just randomly. But I said, I think Joe has his stuff together more than any person I know. Just as a person, he has his stuff together more than any person I know. I think I said that. That arguably could be true. It's no small part of his success. But we'll be talking about stuff kind of along those lines when I have him on. Levi says, Dougster, RU pulled us one twice a year, and the motors are 118. I can come out with two for the price of one. Okay. Hey, I wish Does Nothing Special was in here because I'd have a question for him. Would a regulation 7-foot 45-pound barbell, would that be a carrying aid? I would love to know that. That's an honest question. I don't know how much, because I know I could stand up and balance with a good amount on there. The question is, I wonder how far I could walk with that thing, like racked in a squat position. That's a good question. I mean, I'd probably pretty easily like get 225 pounds. That's the same as two plates aside. I'd probably get that to the distance without any problem. But then you got me wondering, it'd be kind of greedy, you know. I could probably just stand up, like if you had your parts on crates, so they're up nice and high and all that, and they're down on the bar, and you only have to bring it up about 6 inches to lift off. Well, that's easy. That's probably 500 pounds, no problem. And let's just bring one off the rack. The question is, but you couldn't walk with 500 pounds that far. You'd be taking a big chance too, coming forward with the bar. There's got to be some middle ground between the two where you could. Is the number 300? I don't know. But the thing is the bar would never break with that kind of weight on it. It'd bounce a little bit. It wouldn't. I mean, that actually would be a really good way to haul that stuff out. You'd have to have it balanced right, of course, but they're made to rack across your shoulders and carry out. You already know where to put your hands and everything. Get an old torsion bar. Yeah, but see, the torsion bar is so short and all of that. I'm talking about balancing this across for maximum weight carrying ability across your back to come out. You could probably get, depending on what they're for, a couple of blocks that way. Levi said, I've noticed the prices of a couple of U-pull yards going up. I've noticed the prices of everything going up. Get an old torsion bar, not an 1/8 apart. Yeah. That's another very good point. But see, now you got me thinking, well, what else would be good for that? I mean, what else would have? But see, a lot of the torsion bar is really heavy. You need something that has hollow tubing. A piece of roll bar like out of a truck is way too heavy and too unwieldy. And I'm trying to think what would be just right for that. You can't use like any ornamental tubing would just break. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer to that would be, but it will be an interesting way to do it. Now, the thing with the torsion bar is you could carry front and back, but it would be very asymmetrical. You'd be walking off to one side. If you got your torsion bar, it would be really narrow into you, and your stuff would be just right on your sides. I don't know how you could get enough. I don't know how long you can get that bar to get the stuff off you. I like your torsion bar idea, though. I really do. Drive shaft. That's much better. I like that much better. A drive shaft out of something, the longest drive shaft you could find until you get to a carrier bearing. That will be perfect. That's even better. That is even better. That's even better if you did it with that. I agree. These are good questions. These are good questions. I like that. See, a big old a regular, barbell 7 feet though. You don't find a drive shaft quite that long. If you find one in that length range, now you'd be cooking with that. It would be a little more unwieldy to get your hands up on to steady, but that's okay. I could work with that. I could work with that. Aluminum drive shaft. Oh yeah, it's even better. But either way, it's the weight's not all that bad. But you're right, an aluminum drive shaft out of just whatever has the long one till you hit a carrier bearing would be ideal. But I'd want that thing to be probably, like a minimum of 5 feet. Because don't forget, you got parts are going to be balanced on the ends coming to the insides. So you got to allow for that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think you're on to probably, but the aluminum drive shaft is probably going to be bigger around too. And so you're starting to reach a limit of where you can really get your hands to balance this thing up on your shoulders. You can't really grip bar if it needs to rotate at that point. But I still like that idea, and I still think it's the best idea yet. Dean says Explorer drive shafts are aluminum mostly, except for the steel tube ones. Check it out too. The steel tube ones are steel mostly, except for the aluminum ones. Yeah, an anti-roll bars, torsion bar. Yeah, you just gotta have something not cut into your back. But even then, it's probably not wide enough. I'm sitting here thinking like a really long, like shift linkage or something, maybe. I don't know. That was an interesting question. Danny Boyd says the Aerostar has an aluminum drive shaft bolts into a Fox Mustang. Is it an all-wheel? Oh, an all-wheel drive one. Okay. So they just moved their transfer case back to just wherever the Mustang drive shaft would fit. Is that what they did? That sounds about like something Ford would do. Wow. So that drive shaft bolts into a Mustang. Well, I haven't seen an all-wheel drive Aerostar. I haven't seen any Aerostar in a long time, but I haven't seen an all-wheel drive Aerostar in who in the world knows how long. Levi said, I would love to see a yard do a group pull where it's all you can carry with multiple people. Yeah, Cunningham Brothers did. It was $65 a person. And I saw teams of 2 for $130 and teams of 3 for, whatever that had been, $195. Oh, yeah, I saw it. It was great. They were getting great stuff out of there. It was totally worth the money. I mean, obviously don't have somebody who's not essential to contributing to get that out of there, but yeah. In my case, our guys just had enough. They just designated one mule. In our group, I was definitely going to be the mule. If we had the same group, I would still be the mule. That says a lot about our group. We're just all getting old. And one axle shaft that turns a 4-lug Fox into a 5-lug. Yeah, so I don't know. So you're talking about on the all-wheel drive Aerostar, one of the axle shafts fits. Yeah, Ford had so much weird stuff like that. Danny Boyd carried out a 3-piece heater box condenser in my bucket of tools last week. Yep. Gotcha. I want to see this air conditioning deal you're doing. I really do. That just sounds really interesting. I just have subscribers pouring in on that same short. Man, I wish No Name 500 guys had one that was doing that for them. I could just divvy that up for them and just let it flow to their channels. Just Lone Wrench and Indecisive, those two. I'd do it. let them split it a piece. It would, but you know, just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. They can do it too. I just put up 30 days, all kinds of random stuff, and I had something stick. Had some other good stuff too. My top three, one of them was this Thunder Ranch, Far and Away. My second one was the Red 57 Chevy at the car show. It got about 35,000. And third at 22,000, I believe now, something like that's where it's sitting, is Jethro's Selective Hearing. So most of you've probably seen that, but if you haven't seen that, it's really cute. My dog has selective hearing. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, I'm back. Yep, it's right about your time, Wendy. Levi said, sub to Lone Wrench. Cool. Yeah, it's a good channel. He's a good dude. Good channel. Mater's Workshop says, hello all. Hello, Mater. Mater, have you got it all worked out for a new home for your Challenger there? Because I am sure between Scott and Steven, I'm sure. Lone Wrench is my largest short, was only 1,600. Here's the difference, though, man. When you're starting out, it's going to take it harder to get in the analytics. You stay after it, it'll work. And we'll help you out a little bit. We got some ideas. You're working on it, and we're going to help you. Okay? So I'm reaching out to you and Tim. We're gonna make something happen for you. Lars says Jethro's Selective Hearing. Yeah, y'all might get a kick out of that. It was just funny because he was sitting there napping on the couch, but I could see his eyes open. And I said, yeah, I could think of saying some things that he wouldn't get off that couch for, and some things I would. I thought, well, you know, let me just turn on my phone and try it. Just like I thought. Not yet. I'm finding a new home before I cut it up. I'm telling you, I cannot believe, if nothing else, Stephen Holtz is not after that thing. Right in your state. Have you talked with Stephen? There's no reason to cut that up. Stephen is right there. He went to Virginia for one that doesn't look much different than that. Here's the link for Lone Wrench Garage right here. No Name 500 Contender. Yeah, check him out. This guy needs to make it. Levi says, welcome, Lone Wrench. You got this, bud? Indeed. Indeed. There is plenty of time to get there from now. There is. And he's been engaged in working this, so we're going to help him. He can do this. There's also the link for Indecisive Garage. Now, I got to tell you, Stinger's really close. He's just about got this in hand. Mean Street Mopar's really close. He's just about got this in hand. There's no way those guys don't have this in hand at this point. No, I have not. Well, you know, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to reach out to Steven tonight. I'm going to reach out to Steven tonight, and if it's okay, I'm going to give him your number. Okay? There's a guy in our community who lives in Texas who I know is interested in that car. So let me reach out to him, okay? I sent it to him. I will reach out to him. If it's okay, I'll give him your number. I do not want to see that thing cut up. I don't think there's any reason it needs to be. Lars puts up the link, No Name 500 Contender Stinger Salvage. He's a little south of you, but let me tell you, I've seen him drive across country for stuff that looked almost like that. Lone Wrench says, I will be at the gate of the No Name Nationals like a panhandler on the corner. That's the spirit. That's the spirit right there. But you're going to make it, and you're going to get there, dude. You're going to get there. You got the right attitude. And see, this, you got that never give up attitude, and that's what's going to get you there. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's getting crunch time, but you can definitely still do it now. And the link for our leader, Mean Street Mopar. I mean, he is like crawling there, but he's going to get there. Hey, Mater, you care if I give Steven your number? He's in our community. You see him in here. Stephen Holtz just driving. He's been at No Name Nationals. He drove from Texas to Sykeston, changed the rear gears in the car. And when I say change them, he didn't just pull a chunk and change it that was pre-assembled. He set the chunk up in the pits. Changed his gears to race. Yeah. Steven's a real deal. Great guy. There he is. There's the link to Steven's channel. Mayor's trying to get some things made for wood before my surgery. Yeah, but can I get him to contact you? I mean, I don't want to see the car get cut up for no reason. Is it okay if he just contacts you? All right, Lone Wrench says goal is 200 subs by the end of the week. You can do it, buddy. You can do it. All righty, I'll do it. Yep, you can do it, buddy. We're going to help you. You've had a good attitude. You've worked hard. And I love seeing that. You know, I remember the first year we had 65 people register. We had about a 70% graduation rate. And some people were working so hard and just put their heart into it. And man, we would do everything we can to help those people because they're helping themselves. And there were some people that didn't. And we'd hear people say, well, why are they helping these guys and not those guys? I'm like, well, when this guy hadn't posted a video in a month, why are we going to help him? He's not helping himself. He's quit. This guy over here is like one sub at a time working his heart out. Of course we're going to help him. That's a champion. Brooke says sub to all 3 channels. Cool, thank you. These guys deserve it. And I remember a little bit the first year, and no one specific or in this community, nothing like that. But from people from outside of our community, I would hear a few people say, why are you interested in those guys? And they don't have any subs. And we should be after only the big channels and all of this. You know, they say all that, and you wonder what you're doing and all that. But at the end of the day, we were all No Name 500 at some time or another. And one example I like to use is even though there was No Name 500 before the No Name Nationals, let's say there was one in 2019. You know who all would have been in it? I would have been in it. Bad Tree Productions would have been in it. Just Mopar Joe, Unity Motorsports Garage. There's a lot of channels you've heard of would have been in it. You know, so I'm just saying there's a lot of great talent, great channels that come out of the No Name 500. And you know, like Buff's Garage, Buff, he was all about it, but he had just over 500 subs for the No Name 500. But he said, man, if I didn't, he'd have been all about it. And he was. And so he helped those guys and was. And Buff's got like 70,000 subs now. But, you know, I mean, but he was just barely out of the No Name 500. Two Hacks Jeff's got 20,000 subs, and he started that way, and a lot of big channels started that way. It's great. It's great to see. People bring their talents to YouTube to share with everybody, and it's just great. I love it. Yeah, great community here. Hey, Tim, some things, little things I can see to help you. One thing I really want to do, I may get old Lars to help me. Not tonight, you know, got a party and such. Old Lars does. I got other things I got to do. But I will say one thing that might help is to comb through your titles. Because I saw a few great videos that no one's ever going to see because of what the title is. So I'm going to help you work through some of that. Your channel just needs a couple tweaks and just boom, you're there because you have great content. So I think it's just your placement from titles. And people say, well, but you're looking at the thumbnail, you know what it is. The computer doesn't. I mean, you can put up a picture of like a boat paddle, you know, and then just put up a title that has nothing to do with that. The title is what sends that out. The title is how it gets there. And when people put up these nondescript titles, the machine doesn't find them. Titles are everything for this. You know, Dean, look, I mean, it's cute for him to do all that, but we don't need to cheat. We could do this honorably. Lone Wrench Garage could have 1,000 subs by the No Name Nationals. I mean that. There's no reason he can't. He's just got to get this thing rolling. He could do it. An indecisive Tim just needs, I think just a little bit of refinement to his program. He's going to jump right up. I bet you if Indecisive Garage went through and just did an overhaul on his titles like we discussed in the Content Creator Workshop, that alone, just by itself, could probably do it. Because he's got more than half his subs now anyway, right at half. Okay, Steven sent a message on Facebook. Cool. Yeah, you need to get in touch with him. He is a very serious, he is the most serious candidate I could think for buying that car. And Scott at Heaven's Mopar is all about it too. He's over in Washington State. That guy's the kind of guy that would ship something like that. I'm for real. I can think of 2 dead serious buyers for that car. Most of the old parts, Wrong Wards is Happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day, Wrong Ward. Happy 249th birthday, America. And while we're on numbers, happy 75 days, 2 hours, 32 minutes until the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Mean Street's at 4:30, right on. Lunar's got to run. You have a safe and happy 4th, Mr. Lunar. Take care. Ron said he spent the day helping friends at a fireworks stand. Hard yet rewarding work. Well, cool. I hope you get to blow some stuff up and have fun. You know, Levi, you know, really, just... You got this, kid, and I agree. I agree. Levi's old enough to drink now, I think. No, Levi, you're in the 8th or 9th grade. Levi, really, I got to tell you, he has a good attitude. He has been really resilient, and he's been in here for a lot of years now. So we've actually watched him grow up and mature a little bit, as you know, raised from a person. And we've seen that with Dakota and a lot of our youngest people in here. And it's really cool, actually. And usually when they're like that, when they're young, they really, it says a lot about the kind of men they are. So I think it's cool. The guys that always like what the older people are doing usually have a good level head instead of all the debauchery that their contemporaries are into. Mostly old parts, Wrong Words says, I enjoy blowing stuff up. However, my dog does not enjoy me blowing stuff up. Thus, he and I are chilling conversing with the great folks on a John Cooper Live. Well, I will tell you, Jethro enjoys the fireworks. Every year I've had him out there and sitting in his little red, white, and blue cape with his name on it, just watching those fireworks. He enjoys them. Just as long as they're just far enough back, they're not too loud for him, he enjoys them. He will watch the whole show. He's 15, yet his liver enzymes like an alcoholic's. Cannot have alcohol until we fix it. Understand, yeah. But you know what? I'll tell you this, for whatever it's not worth, I've lived an alcohol-free life, and I just don't have a regret in the world. Not a one. Ron says, everyone say hi to Benji, my dog. Well, hello, Benji. Thanks for watching. I love dogs. I listed a house yesterday that had this little Yorkie that lived in it. Just a little old thing like this. He was 15 years old and blind. And he had this little fenced-off area. And he couldn't see what I was doing when I was measuring the house around him, but he was listening to the tape measure. Dogs are a gift. Mater says he likes to drink, but his wallet says no. Thumper says, Degen das Wunderhund did not like the fireworks at the ice cream cruise last year, the week after the No Name Nationals. Yeah. Yeah, Jethro likes them okay, as long as they're not too loud for him. He likes watching them. I'll tell you something he really likes. And this sounds wild, but like sometimes I've even planned this, like where there's a construction site. He and I will go get lunch and go sit where we can watch the construction, like trucks and cranes and all this stuff. Jethro loves that. He will just sit and watch all the stuff going on, like a demolition going on or pieces going up. He loves that. It's all about that. Lone Wrench says, my dogs are terrified of rain. The storms and all don't bother Jethro in the least, but he does not want to be rained on. Ooh, he's not a fan of that at all. And he doesn't like to oh gosh, if there's a puddle, he'll do anything to go around it. He last resort, he'd jump over it and clench his teeth to not get in it. But he's no lamb, that's for sure. Now, except in the ocean, he will walk out in the ocean. That he likes. Dean said, you should have asked the dog how many square feet, and he would have barked 132 times. Yeah, boy, if this room was 132 times, ooh, it's a lot bigger than that. Ron says, Benji is currently curled up next to my Remington 1100. He finds refuge there. Yeah, that's a good spot. That's a good spot. I'm normally a proponent of keeping all my stuff loaded like it should be. The shotgun, I do not keep one in the chamber because they're not drop safe. And yeah, 1 million to 1, if Jethro were to knock that thing over, could it, bump fire a modern like Remington 870? Well, I'm not going to take that chance. I'm okay racking one in it. I'll keep the shotgun cruiser ready, even though it's in my house, for the safety of Jethro. Levi says, happy 4th of July, Ron. I'm ready to hear you announce. And Levi's backyard performance is moving on to the next round. Hey, I'd like to hear that too. Laura says, no wonder Jethro wanted to go to Lowe's. He's a construction worker at heart. I know one thing. If I was going to be reincarnated as anything, I'd take being reincarnated as that dog. He lives a pretty good life. Danny Boy trying to invoke a Pavlov joke. Yeah, that's worthy. Can reformat it and try again. Ron says his 1100 has 5 in the magazine and an empty chamber. Takes a quick click. Yeah, I've got 6 in the mag tube, 1 in the chamber, 6 on the side saddle. So I got 13 going on. But I got to tell you, a 13-round shotgun fight is horrific. So I don't want to be in anything longer than that anyway. Brooks says, our most common saying we hear is, uh-oh, looks like Levi's having trouble. Maybe, but you know what? You guys have had trouble so many years that when you break that and don't, it's going to be so sweet. Quote of the decade, Ron says, uh-oh, it looks like Levi's having trouble. Brooke, you just broke the internet. Yeah, I wonder where that gets placed on Google. Danny Boyd remembers 1976 and the Freedom Train. Yeah, a lot of stuff was going on for the bicentennial. I missed that by a little bit. I was next year's model. Wasn't there like an episode of Little House on the Prairie when they were celebrating the centennial, which would have been 1876? Ron had a pair of red, white, and blue dingo boots in 1976. My gosh, do you have a picture of that handy? Wow. And you know you wore the fro with them. Had to have been. Mohawk wants to know if this is the year for Dean to make it. Well, boy, I wish. I don't know. What'd you say, Dean? Over 500 artifacts on that train, Danny Boydstern. Yeah, I remember reading a little bit about it. But again, this is a year before I was born. And bell-bottom corduroy pants. Of course, I couldn't imagine anything else with those boots. Dennis Collins was wearing a Stars and Stripes suit in today's video. I could see that. I'll get a quick reminder in here ahead of time. It's 9:37 in the East right now, but at just after 10 in the East, or 9:05 Central Time, 10:05 in the East, our friend at Lone Wrench Garage is going to be having a premiere of a fireworks video. He's got it up on his channel. Who doesn't remember the bicentennial year? It was a very special year for me. Well, I don't remember it because it was a year before I was born. There's nothing special. John just did some shorts firing the parachute flares. Think YouTube will pull them down? All depends how you title them. That sounds great. Ron says, I miss all of you guys. Looking forward to No Name Nationals 2025. I'm looking forward to it too, but I'm just really got a lot to do. Last couple of days have eaten me up with work, and I just got a lot hanging over me right now. Kind of meet some contractors next week and get a huge albatross project over there done. I got to get it done. I got a few weeks before the No Name Nationals to have that done. I'll be glad I'll be done before then, but still. Yeah, always on me and so much more. Happy Independence Day 38 Racing says, howdy. Let the dog deal with the contractors. They met him. They like him. Lone Ridge Garage has some of the big explosions. You could feel the heat and concussion 100 yards away. Oh, yeah. Good fireworks show you should. Yes. Right. It should remind you just a little bit of watching Top Fuel from the front row. Danny Boyd's not wrong. Danny Boyd says, when I saw Metallica in 97 or 8, we were pretty far back, and I could still feel the heat on my face and their explosions. Metallica just played here at Virginia Tech just a little bit ago. It's like a couple weeks ago. It is long overdue. They should have done that over 20 years ago, if you ask me. Ron said, we had a guy walk into a fireworks stand today asking for quarter sticks. Tell me you're stupid without telling me you're stupid. I've talked to fireworks store employees that said that people walk in there smoking. Like, what in the world are you thinking? I mean, I really wonder, would you take a CO2 extinguisher and just blast them with it? Put that thing out. I just wonder, because that's, really screwing around. I don't know if they think they're funny or just that dumb, but I don't think I would care. I think for safety's sake, it might be the thing to do. Here is a link to Lone Wrench Garage's video set to premiere directly after this live. Check it out there. There is the link. Lars has it linked in the chat. You can click right there. Lars says, thankfully you saw Metallica in 98, not Great White in 03. Good point. Some things age like wine, some things age like milk. Yeah, Lars is a good dude. If you ever meet anybody who doesn't like Lars, you just ask yourself, okay, what's wrong with this guy? You really can't legitimately not like Lars. He's a good dude. Uh-huh. I always wonder what's wrong with Lars. He's a good guy. Maybe that's what's wrong with him. He's a good guy. Most people ask, what's right with Lars? No, Lars is a good guy. Most of the time off of YouTube, you catch Lars doing something for other people. He's truly a selfless guy. He's a good friend. True. Yes, indeed. Lars has an amazing sense of humor. Great. Yeah, I agree with all that. We are all family. This is a family. You have relatives and you have a family. And it's fine to have a family full of relatives. Nothing wrong with that. But we got a family full of non-relatives. And nothing wrong with that either. This is a good one. It was Tire Shop Tires by Lars. You know what? It's funny you say that because we have a town down from us. And it's Narrows, Virginia. Narrows. But the locals will call it NARS. And you have to know this. They pronounce it like it's NARS or NARZ. NARS. Well, anyway, we saw this tire shop down there, and I was thinking, boy, if Lars had that, he would have, NARS Tires by Lars. There's a tire shop like right on the main drag driving through there, and I saw that, and I thought all of that. Indeed, sir. Later, Levi. Take care, sir. Is there anybody in this chat of only 27 people here who does not have a No Name Nationals t-shirt? Is there anybody in this chat who does not have one? I'm not asking if you want another one. I'm not asking if you want a free one or anything. Is there anybody in this chat who doesn't have one? Mater doesn't, and Peckerwood Customs doesn't. Okay. And Lars doesn't. These three folks here, Mr. Lars, Mater and Peckerwood and Lone Ridge, you could can you keep that list for me? I would appreciate that. Mater, Aaron, and Lone Ridge Garage, and Tim. Yeah, Ron actually, he has the staff shirts. He's got the nice embroidered collared ones like I wear. Yeah. He's got a staff shirt. Oh, don't even ask me. That is the weirdest thing to me. Exactly. I've always thought that was the weirdest word. All right, those four. Can you help me with that, Mr. Lars? So Tim, Lone Wrench, Mater, and Aaron. And yeah, Mater, Aaron, Tim, and Lone Wrench. Those, yes. All right. You keep me that list right there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, buddy. And Lone Ridge has already said he wears a 3X. Guys, if you're not shy about putting your sizes on here, put your sizes on there too. We got a 3X for Lone Ridge. Danny Boyd says, I only wear a shirt when I go to the store, my night job. Could someone set up a link to those 4 channels? Happy to subscribe. Well, I will tell you this. Anybody who's running in the No Name 500s, you can go to johnwilburn.com. That takes you to my main YouTube page, and they're all right there. Now, Mater's channel and Aaron's channel, now those two, you would have to, they have their subs, I believe, or Aaron has not registered, and Mater's registered, has his subs, but those guys would not be on the main page for that reason, but we can get you links for them as well. But everybody who's currently running the No Name 500 is on my main page. So for you 4 and you 4 only, and not the people who hang out and watch this later and try to jump in there. No. You just had to be here and hanging out at the right time. For you 4 and you 4 only, a shirt's going to show up. How about that? So we got a 5X for Aaron. I'm going to, that's a different deal. I'm going to have to see on that one. That's a special. We can do it. But we can just, let me work on that one. And you're halfway across the world. So we're going to work on that one, Aaron. We can definitely do that, though. 3X for Tim. You have shirts in 4. I keep 3. We can do 4 and 5. I don't think we can even do anything above that. No, you got your shirt, Aaron. You got your shirt. So I've got 4. We had an opportunity to jump in for 4, just for people who are watching them. You 4 are getting your shirts, okay? So we've got Peckerwood Customs. We've got Mater. We've got Indecisive Garage and Lone Ridge Garage. And we need to get you in some No Name National swag, and we're going to do that. Yeah, Mohawk wants to know if Aaron's going to make it out this year. What say you, Aaron? Any chance we're going to have any New Zealand or Australian representation? Dean or Aaron? Of course, Aaron, we appreciate you. There's a link to Mater's workshop. Mater wears a large. All right, Lars, go get some fireworks. See you, buddy. And there's a link for Peckerwood Customs. Thank you, gentlemen. Lars and Unfinished Project, 2 of the fastest posters on all of YouTube. Thank you, gentlemen. Still waiting on stickers. How are you still waiting on stickers? They must have gotten lost somewhere. I 100% would have mailed them like months ago. We'll fix that. I'm definitely not worried about mailing out a couple more, but how do you not like, and I know I've sent more, you guys have won rounds of stickers, but I'm getting you stickers. No problem. We'll do that. I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? Okay. Hey, Lars, since you're still here and you're making some notes for me, make me a note to send out Crystal some more stickers. And we're going to put on the envelope, Mohawk may not steal. Thank you, Ron. I greatly appreciate that, buddy. Unfinished Project puts up the link to Lars. Yes, if you don't yet subscribe to Lars, go check him out. He's a good friend, a friend of our channel and community. Ron says our stickers are stuck. Yeah. We're gonna hook you up right, Crystal. Yeah, I remember clearly sending you some stickers, and it's like, what happened to that? I'm glad you told me that. See, when it comes to stickers, like most things I see and have tracking, like shirts do, hats do, stickers don't. I just put them in an envelope, and here's what I usually do. I'll always throw at least a couple in there, but I'll usually throw them in up to like the weight, sometimes more, and then just use an additional stamp depending on what it is. I'm going to hook you up right there, okay? Don't worry about that. We got you. Most of the old parts just subscribed. I'm waiting for somebody, instead of an uppercase B, to use a German Scharf's S, because it looks like an uppercase B. Lone Wrench's premieres in 14 minutes. Yes, it is. We're going to wrap up at the regular time and send people over. Yes, there's a link posted in this chat. This is great right here. Okay, well, I got some a year ago. You send them, I won't take them. Good. She was talking about that. That's how I remember sending those. So we're going to hook her up. We'll make sure she gets these. Bad Tree Blake says, Heathens Assemble. I'm clocked out. Howdy, Blake. Thanks for swinging by, buddy. Glad you were here. Most of the old parts wrong ward. Do you enjoy fishing? You know, I used to all the time. I loved saltwater fishing. Loved it. Loved being out on the boat. I do, but there's some things about it I don't enjoy. But I love being out on that water, and I fished for many years. Chris Lonix says, I think I have an idea for a winter project for me. Just need to get my loom, but oh my gosh. That sounds interesting. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I think last time all I did was I took like just a regular envelope, a thin envelope, and I threw a few of these in there. I'm going to do something a little better this time. Blake says July 4th on the Mississippi was World War III today, and he saw some stuff. I bet you did. Yeah, Cope said his Indiana Beach, that lake out there was just swarming. I'm sure Smith Mountain and Claytor Lakes were just covered up today. Now, I got to tell you, if I was going to do one thing on 4th of July for entertainment, if I could just do one thing, and this is the kind of thing I like to do, that nobody else would, and if I went with it, but they would just hate it. But I'm telling you, I would want to go and do YouTube shorts at the boat ramps of people trying to put boats in the water that don't know what they're doing. I would just sit there and just drink up the entertainment. It would be the greatest. And you know, if you know, you know, right? I remember one time when I was a kid, when I discovered this, how great this was. I was at some boat ramp in South Carolina. And I mean, it was just person after person, the most ridiculous stuff you'd ever seen. People trying to pull way too big of boats out of there. There were guys flexing the bed off of this old bullnose Ford truck, 2-wheel drive, trying to get it to get enough traction, jumping on the bed sides, trying to pull this huge boat out of there. Oh, what a mess it all. People, a dude with a Ford Taurus trying to pull out jet skis and stuff. And you keep watching them, you know, are they going to be able to get out? Are they going to get stuck? And the boat ramp, there is nothing entertainment like a boat ramp. Nothing beats it. So if you go on 4th of July when it's swarming, because then you got a perfect storm. It's crowded and you got all these people who don't know how to back a trailer and they don't know how to get their boat in and out and they don't do it very often. And it's just perfect. Bad Tree Blake said should have been, but was rescuing a 30-footer with my 16-foot lunge. $200 tip. Seen Hippie towing a hydrolock jet ski also. Yeah. Ron wants to build a 343 Javelin or Hornet. Yeah. Danny Boyd says, a shame to lift that 6 out like that 6-cylinder Charger some guy got. Those are super rare when you see a 6-cylinder in a Charger, but I love it. I love seeing people leave that in. Some people appreciate stuff like that, and some people don't. No tax on that tip. Mexican Spec says there's a 69 Javelin for sale here with a Ford 302. So if you have an AMC with a Mopar engine, is that kind of like having a Pontiac with a Chevrolet engine? Isn't that about the same equivalent? Right? Danny Boy says in 1982, my buddy went and looked at a 68 Javelin inline 630 on the tree and rust galore, even the tops of the fenders. Well, Blake and Company at Bad Tree Productions had some rust holes in the top of the fenders, this Barracuda. I mean, they get some rusty stuff up in Iowa, too, they make work. And I think theirs was pretty isolated up there. I don't think the car was that rotten, but they just had it in the top of the fenders. And A-bodies in general get it pretty bad right up there the way they're made. Ron wants a 343 core. Okay, yeah. Let's help Ron find this because he wants to do it. 343 is what he needs, an AMC 343. Blake says it's getting dark and I'm the only adult at the house. Wish me luck. Hope I have my left and right in the AM. I'll be listening. Thank you, Blake. Thanks for coming out, buddy. Or a 69 Rambler American two-door. Yeah. Mexican Specs and all the Javelins sold here had inline 6s. There were no AMC V8 engines in Mexico. Oh, interesting. Mater wants to find Kiwi to trade his Challenger for a Ford Falcon XGB. Well, that just sounds completely reasonable. Thanks for coming out, Tim. He says, good night. Great chat as always. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Ron says, Blake, wear a pair of them is. Who knows if he meant but the hands? I mean, I wasn't assuming that. Oh, goodness. And you guys have any last anything? Because we're going to shut down on time because Lone Ridge Garage is having a premiere of his fireworks video right after this live on his channel. The link is up. Go check it out. He's having a premiere over there right after this live at Lone Ridge Garage. If you want an easy way to get to Lone Ridge Garage, you don't have the link, you don't have his link, just go to my main page, my main YouTube page. His channel is right there, and you can subscribe if you feel so inclined. It's right there. So there's a link to his channel right on the front page. But check it out. He's going to have his premiere coming up right after this. Later on, thank you. Mexican Spec, have a good evening. I hope this Wednesday there's a Tech Talk Live on the American Hot Rod Association channel and or Slant Daily channel with Dallas and Professor P. I always like to plug those guys. Great information over there. Great place to go and learn. Also, we will be back here next Friday where it should be 69 days to go until the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Yeah, safety and Blake go together hand and eye. Yeah, well, there you go. Beckerwood says, good night and have an awesome weekend. Good night and be safe later on. Indeed, and we'll let that be the last comment. Thank you all for coming out. Do not forget to go over and check out Lone Ridge Garage's premiere tonight. He's up right after this. And with that, you guys have a fun and safe weekend with family and friends, and I am out.